Okay, so I've been jumping back and forth between different vehicles which I bought during the black market event, and well, so far I think the Panzer V 4 is probably one of my favorite vehicles which I got during this event, because like the Panzer IV Hydrostadt, it's still a good vehicle. Like, it's surprisingly mobile considering how low the part of weight ratio is. It feels a lot faster than it should be, because well, I think the part of weight ratio on that thing is somewhat similar to the Emil 1, which is why it feels weird that the Panzer V 4 feels significantly faster than the Emil 1. Like, it's one of those it's one of those weird situations where you just think, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't seem the way it should be. But yeah, that's just one of the things with the game. Sometimes you just have vehicles which just for some reason are just way faster than others. Just because. Just because of ground resistance and crap like that. Even though, like, when it comes to the Emil 1, I thought it had had a decent like ground resistance stats, but I can't remember. It's been too long since I looked at it. So let's see, we're on Erlenberg, and I'm trying to think where the hell I want to take this thing on Erlenberg, because most of the fights in Erlenberg are typically hold down fights. I'm taking this thing against heavies. I don't think it's a particularly great idea. Like, you can, but doesn't mean it's a good idea. So, see, like, it's actually really hard to decide, because I feel like I should head over there, but at the same time, I feel like I shouldn't. I'm just gonna go for it and just, like, my gut feeling tells me to go to this side, so I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens. But you can see here, like, this tank here, like, I'm pretty happy I actually got one of these things here, because you can see, like, the mobility on this thing here. Now, I mentioned the Hydrostats are got okay mobility. This thing here is actually genuinely impressive when it comes to how quickly it's able to get around the map. Like, I've been doing like 54 kilometers an hour with ease, and this thing has really strong hull armor for tier 5. The only real weakness on this tank is the turret. If you just avoid shooting the turret, then, oh well, if you avoid getting shot in the turret, I should say, then you're pretty much fine in this tank. The one problem is, on a map like this, one that typically revolves around being hull down, it's kind of difficult to do that sometimes. So let's see, so there's a lag over there. It's interesting that he's the furthest one forward, because I didn't think the Lago was a particularly fast vehicle. It's been a long time since I played that tank, but I know for a fact he has really good gun depression, purely because it's a Swedish tank. Try being a little bit aggressive here and see if I can go for some shots on this Lago. Huh, well that works. Completely unintentional fire, I'll take it. So, this is the one thing with tier 5 games. You feel like you need to be really aggressive because of how quick the games seem to go by. But at the same time, you're also pretty tempted just to be cautious, because it's very easy to get yourself killed early on and not really have much of an impact. That was unintentional. That's a bit unfortunate. This T-34 is just pinning me. This is the one thing with the Panzer V 4. You've got the Panther hull, but if people shoot you in the turret, the Panther hull does nothing. And there's no real way to, like, make people shoot your hull. Well, at least the T-34 got killed, but there's another one. And artillery shooting at me as well. And let's fall back here, because I have a feeling that artillery is probably going to be zeroing in on me. I think he was... I didn't see where the artillery was. See, he did go for me again, just didn't manage to kill me. I got lucky there. At least I got a bit of revenge there. Wow, nearly 1,000 damage on 999 damage. I mean, come on. Right, so let's see. So the P2640 over there, and there's also an Excelsior being really aggressive, pushing forward. No chance in hell I'm going to get shot towards that Excelsior, at least from here, because there's just basically like a wall of buildings just like protecting that guy. Let's see, can I get a shot into this P26 without him realizing? I might be able to get 2 shots in this guy before he actually gets his gun turned around. He kind of screwed himself a little bit there by turning his tank in the opposite direction to his turret. If he hadn't did that, he would have got a shot towards me. KV-1 has lost a lot of health. There's an DeanogTO. The T67 is probably going to handle. I'm expecting the Excelsior to come rushing across here. Because I think he was heading back towards this direction. But thinking about it, he could probably cross through the river. There's nobody really watching this flank at all, aside from me. This is awkward. We've named for Captain, but the T7's gone forward there. And I feel like he's probably going to be the one to run into the Excelsior. But where is he? Oh, there he is there. Do I have any shots at him? I don't have any shots from there. Let's move forward and see if I can find some. No, the guy is just running forward pretty much as soon as he got spotted. See, I can cross over here, that's the one thing. It can be a wee bit dangerous to cross over, but you can do it. Because there's like a little middle ground here. M37's even coming forward to try and get shots towards this Excelsior. See, if the T7 comes around behind him, then I'll hopefully be able to get a shot into the Excelsior. Ah, messed up just a little bit there. Probably could have timed that a bit better, but I didn't want to die. So, yeah, 1200 damage. I think that's the best damage game I've had so far in this thing. It's actually pretty tricky to get really high damage games in these tanks because there's just not enough health in the games you get into. I'd actually really like to see the results of the buffs to all the health pools. I think Wargaming mentioned on some sort of article. I mean, that wasn't a bad game at all. They're 1200, 1300 damage to me and that guy. And this guy got high caliber. Yeah, it was high caliber. Yeah. So that guy had a pretty damn solid game there, but. Yeah, low tier games just in general, and actually wasn't bad credit making either for a tier 5. Considering this is a tier 5 premium, tier 5 premiums are not known for their credit making capabilities. That wasn't bad, but I will admit, typically with tier 5 premiums, you typically average around about 800 to, well, I would say probably 700 to 900 damage is probably where you're going to average normally. So I guess that was a bit of a higher than average damage game. But one thing I do find interesting is that Wargaming, I think, hinted that they might buff the HP pools of lower tiered vehicles, which I think would be a pretty good change, not just for lower tier players who would have more of a chance to get used to the game and not just get punished hard by Panzer IVs and M4 Shermans with derp guns. Instead, they would actually have more of an opportunity to try and learn the game and get better at it because they would have a bit more health and allowed them a bit more room for error. But it would also be great for these lower tier premiums because these lower tier premiums, some of them are really good. This thing and the Hydrostat are actually surprisingly decent little tanks. Although look at the stats, the Hydrostat just seems to be completely just outclassed by the Panzer V considering the V has better accuracy, better aim time. Actually, let's just compare the base stats, 0.37, 2 seconds. 0.39, 2.3 seconds. 1535 DPM, 1737 DPM. So, Panzer V appears to be just the better of the two. However, I will say, both these tanks are surprisingly mobile. This thing here actually kind of caught me off guard how quick it actually seems to be, because it actually gets around the map fairly well, considering what it is. And considering its horsepower, I mean, this part of weight ratio of 12.3 seems really low, but it actually feels pretty quick. So it kind of surprised me in that regard. But yeah, I'm getting a wee bit distracted there. Like I was talking about like how Wargame was potentially going to like buff the HP pools of lower tiered vehicles, which I personally think would be an awesome change, because it would just allow like lower tier players to get like more of like just a natural progression through the tiers. I mean, like right now, like the difference between tier 1 and tier 5 in terms of health is not really that big. I mean, tier 1 tanks get like 100 health, tier 5 tanks get like what, like 600, 700? There's like a 600 health point difference there. Whereas like tier 6 tanks on average get like 900 health. Then you look at tier 10 tanks. Tier 10 tanks typically get over 2000. So it's a pretty significant like jump in health between like the lower tiered vehicles and the higher tiered vehicles. I mean, the main HP, or well, the main like health jump you see in the game is at tier 7. I mean, look at the Tiger 1 and the VK3601H. There's literally a 550 HP difference between the two, which is nuts. And then like the same sort of thing with the Panther. The VK3002M I think has 840 health, and the Panther has 1300. It's just a colossal just increase in health, just because tier 7. Like if they just upped the health a little bit of everything like tier 6 and below, they would probably resolve that issue of just like the massive HP jump at like tier 7. And also I feel like they may buff the HP pools of tier, or well, they could nerf the HP pools I guess of tier 7s a little bit, and that would probably balance it out a bit, but at the same time they probably wouldn't want to do that. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work, but it is a bit weird that some tier 7s have more health than tier 8s. It is a little bit strange that is the case. I mean, the Panther, thinking about it again, has the same health as a T44, which is something you don't really think of very often, but it's weird to think of when you realise that's true. So yeah, gone off on a bit of a tangent there, but I think the Panzer V 4, it's a decent tank. While it's worth 5,500 gold, probably not, because well, tier 8 premium medium tanks, like ones that are going to make a lot more money than this, are going to be well, only like 2,000 gold more expensive, probably less. I mean, the Regular Reese is like 7,200 gold, and it's a great little like tier 8 premium medium, so that's probably way better value for money than this. But this thing is like a fun like just like tank to mess around in.